This is a question from our lesson in Chapter 2 on measures of center and spread that a student had asked me about, so I thought I'd just make a video for all to view. But it's basically asking you to take this set of data and from the frequency table and identify the mean, median, and mode. Now, the mean and median can be found without the use of Microsoft Excel or your graphing calculator. The median and mode. But the mean is a lot easier to compute if you use one of those tools. And so I'm going to demonstrate how we use Microsoft Excel here to calculate the mean. So the mean, first of all, what we have to do is I entered all of the values of my data in a column A, starting with A2, and all of their frequencies in column B, starting with B2. Now notice in this case that the data is presented as an interval or with intervals. And so you've got to find the middle of each of those intervals. And that's what you'll use to compute this mean and median. And mode. So what you do to find the middle is you're basically just averaging the endpoints. So you're taking 30 plus 34, which is 64, and you're dividing that by 2 to get 32. For the next class, you're taking 35 plus 39 and getting an answer, 74, and dividing that answer by 2 to get the middle of that class, and so on for all classes. So now what you have to do when you have a frequency table where all these pieces of data don't necessarily occur only once, but numerous times, which is what the frequency represents, we have to calculate the value of the x times f. There is a video in Canvas that demonstrates this, but this is just an additional one. So I'm going to type equals and then click on the cell containing x times the cell containing its frequency and hit enter. I want to do that for all of the cells, for all of the values of x and their frequencies. So I'm going to click on the cell that contains the formula that I just typed, and I'm going to drag down to the last cell to which I want it to copy and let go. And then over here I have the option on my home screen to select fill up here in the upper right hand corner down, and it'll copy that formula all the way down. Okay, so the value of 32 occurred only once, and that's why x times f is 32. The value of 37, or the middle of that interval, 37, never occurred, and that's why 37 times 0 is 0, and so on. The obvious value that occurred most frequently was 65 to 69, and the middle of that was our 67, and that's the mode of our distribution here. So we could actually just figure out that the mode is in the interval from 65 to 69, which has a center of 67. So our mode in this case is 67 because it has the greatest frequency. Now back to the mean though, I need the sum of all these x times f's. So I'm going to type equals sum, open paren, and highlight the cells that I want the sum of. And close the parenthesis and hit enter. So the total sum of all of the data values in this data set is equal to 4,397. I want to know the mean of those. So move this over here. To find the mean, I just need to take that sum and divide by the total of all frequencies. So let me also get the total of all frequencies. Equals sum. This will tell me how many pieces of data are represented in my data set. And close my parentheses. And so I see that there were 71 data values. So now to find my mean, I'm going to take that sum equals, that sum of 4,397. So I'm just going to click on the cell that contains it, and I'm going to divide by my frequencies, the sum of my frequencies, 71. My average here is 61.926 if I round that to the nearest, or to 3 digits after the decimal point. Okay, so now finally, the only measure of center we haven't yet reported is our median. Here's a handy formula that can be used to find the position of the median. The position of the median will tell us which observation from smallest to largest is the median, or which two observations in the middle do we need to average to find the median. So it tells us we take the total number of pieces of data and we add 1 to it, and then we divide that answer by 2. So if I take the total number of pieces of data equals the 71, oops, I got to put that in parentheses because I need to divide the answer I get with n plus 1 by 2. So equals, open paren, the total number of pieces of data is 71, plus 1, and close those parentheses and divide by 2. Now if this depth of the median, more clearly the position of the median, comes out to be a nice whole number, then that tells us that the 36th observation is the median from the smallest. If that came out to be a decimal, then you would average, say that was 36.5, you would average the 36th and 37th positions to get your median. In this case, it came out to be a nice whole number. So when I look at my data set here, I know that the first was in the interval from 30 to 34. Then I know that there were none in the interval from 35 to 39. So all the way from 34 to 39, it contains just the first data value. Now when I move to the next class, 40 to 44, there were 2 additional values. So if I add 2 to the one that I have, I'm now at the 3rd data value. And now when I move to the next group, I have 5 more. 3 plus 5 is 8, so I'm at the 8th position. Now when I move to the next group, 8 plus 6 is 14, so I'm at the 14th position. I'm trying to get to the 36th position. So now when I move to the next class, I have 14 plus an additional 7, I'm at 21. I still haven't hit the 36th observation, but when I get to the next class, there were 15 additional data values, and 21 plus 15 is 36. So my 36th position has to be between 60 and 64. And that's the position of my median, and that's how I know that my median has to be equal to the middle of that class. 60 to 64 has a middle value of 62. Let me know if you have any questions.